This is Brad Wild, or Brad, and we're at Cleveland, Hopkins Airport. That's Kilo Charlie Lima Echo. And we're runway 24 right, and we're taking off in some surly weather, not great weather, and we're on our way to Chicago O'Hare, which is Kilo Oscar Romeo Delta. And we're in the JAR A320, and this is the very latest revision or release, and so this is just a trial flight. So here we are at the end of runway 24 right, and everything is started up. We have some flaps. Spoiler is armed. Our FMC is completely programmed. I decided to spare you that. Our speed setting is 176. Our initial altitude 5,000 feet, and I've just dialed in a standard baro here. So we're going to be taking off to the west-southwest and then turning towards Chicago soon after we get off the ground. A couple things I need to do is, let's see, turn on my strobes, landing lights, nose here, seat belts are on, smoking is on, we are aligned. So I think we're ready to go. Let's release our parking brake. One thing I forgot here. There we go.
Power set.
Power is set. A little windy.
100 knots.
Rotate. And watch my bank here and angle of attack. Go ahead and hit our autopilot. And now we have lever to climb. So we're about ready to turn towards our first
Baro cross-check. Passing flight level 028.
HUDs. There we go. And we can go ahead and dial up our speed.
Speed check. Flaps 1.
Anyone who's flown with me before knows that I like to dial up my speed gradually.
Speed check. Flaps 0. Spoilers disarmed.
And we can turn off our nose light. And if I had turned off the packs, I would turn them on now. Coming up on 5,000 feet. By the way, I'm using this Blue Sky Simulations pack, sound pack, so it's quite dramatic. So we'll go ahead and dial our cruise altitude of flight level 300. and go ahead and begin our standard climb. Our little finger here, throttle to climb, and you can see our speed bug is going to 250 knots. And up comes the nose. Change our range here. You can see our top of climb here at the VOR, Victor Whiskey Victor. Using SkyMax Pro 3.1, I believe. Now let me just show you what my weather settings are. I also have the real weather connector, but I'm not using it tonight. I wanted some real weather. Just checking our route. So we're coming up on 10,000 feet, and our nose will come down. We'll pick up some speed. See our speed bug climb. Kill the lights. So our speed bug is climbing. Nose is basically, well, a slow climb. Lake Erie. Clouds look great today. So we're still waiting for that speed bug to settle in. Sometimes I hold my speed back using speed selector here. Alright, reached about 338 and we're climbing about 3,000 feet a minute. Beautiful evening to be flying. So we've reached our first waypoint here. Whoops, wrong button. HUDs. Now on to Amherst. a minute we'll take a look at our arrival plates into O'Hare. So we're just above the cloud deck now. Not much to do until we hit flight level 180, and we'll dial in standard baro, which we're actually at. So not much change there. You'll see our baro begin to flash on our PDF. Did I say PDF? PFD. Primary flight display. Alright, we're flashing. And time to go to standard here. And before I sign off for a few minutes, I will take a look at the approach plates going into O'Hare. Okay, we're going to be using the Watson 2 approach, and so we're going to be coming in from this direction. I'll actually pick it up here at, I think, span, then diaph, Watson on, in, and around, and we're going to be landing at, go back here to our plates, 28 left, sorry, 22 left. Zoom in a little bit here. So we'll be coming down this direction. So we'll take a closer look when we get there, or when we get at least to our top of descent. Well, we're in the soup now. And our next waypoint is also simultaneously our top of descent. So why don't we take a little break here, and I'll be back in a few minutes. So you can see we missed our top of descent. We overshot it. I'm not sure why that happened. Usually this aircraft is right on the money. At least it is for me. So I don't know whether it's this version or something else, that some other extenuating circumstance. So we can let people, whoops, wrong one, smoking. Alright, and we're spooling back for our cruise. and we'll just continue our route, and I'll check back with you when we get to Watson, and we have to prepare for our top of descent and our descent into Chicago. So back with you shortly. So we're coming up on our top of descent here. So a few things I want to set before we get there. But you can see our route into Chicago coming in from the southeast and heading north along the lake, or over the lake. Got X airports pulled up, and you can see we're over Indiana. Here's Fort Wayne back here, but no other landmarks to speak of unless you're familiar with Indiana. So I'm interested in this altitude here of 4,000 feet, and we will be picking up the localizer around Kennel. You can see here that this is our initial fix, so we'll be coming around this direction and intercept it there. So I want to dial that into my altitude window. 4,000 feet. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So just 2 miles to our top of descent. So I can go ahead and get the little finger press, and you can see our throttles begin to come back. Whoops, this should be on norm. So our descent has begun. I'm going to watch our PFD to see if we get an indication for more drag. We can turn our seatbelt sign back on. See, we're above a cloud deck. Some broken clouds below. Check our MCDU. Go back up here. So Nikita. So we'll be turning north. Almost completely north. Watching our speed here. We're right on the money. Nikita. We want to be at flight level 274, which we are. just slightly fast. We could get an indication here for more drag, so I'm watching that. But we're almost due north now. So you can see Lake Michigan here. We're going to come over Michigan City, which is real close to the Michigan-Indiana border. So we'll be flying across the lake. Keep an eye on that. So our speed's a little high. I could kick in our spoilers. You can see our speed immediately come down. And as soon as I see my engine spool up, I'll know that I need to retract my spoilers, my speed brakes. And they're coming up, so we've reached our target speed here. So we're coming up on our flight level 180 and our Vero is flashing. We'll just go to our standard 29.92 for the sake of simplicity. Now, if I were using real weather, I would be a little bit more concerned about that. So beginning our turn towards Chicago, we're over the lake. See if I can pull that up on our ex-airports. You can see, can't zoom out any further. Do want to check our localizer frequency 110.1. So we'll double check our FMC, FMGC to be completely correct here. So we've got 110.1 dialed in for our ILS. Next thing we'll need to do is click our approach phase when we get to our deacceleration mark, which is on our ND navigational display. You can see it here. or this is, I'm sorry, the 10,000 foot mark. So now our speed bug is dropping down to 250. As you know, is the speed limit. Beautiful evening over the lake. Then we can go ahead and turn on our landing lights. Just check my flight plan here. So we're now at 250, continuing our descent. Had to reload some scenery, I guess. Still over the lake. And you can see our deacceleration point here where we will begin our approach phase. I'll do it manually, but if you forget, it will automatically do it. Go ahead and click my ILS, even though we don't quite need them yet. We do have our localizer flag here, and it's showing our frequency of 110.1, and you can see our route and the western shoreline of Lake Michigan. Chicago off in the distance. Now I had never noticed this blue line, which is our go-around, until my friend Edward pointed it out. And I'd not seen it in any version until now. I always thought it was green, but maybe not. Alright, we're coming up on our approach phase. Go ahead and click that
Approach phase activated.
And we'll just, while we're here, put in a and our winds are out of 270 at 16. So we're coming up on Kennel and our turn towards the airport and our runway. So we can see that come across, and go ahead and click our approach.
Autopilot 1, cross-check.
Alright, both autopilots approach checked.
Speed check, flaps 1.
Notch of flaps, we're at the green dot. And we've captured our guide slope. You can see the flag here. We just need to pick up our localizer again. Okay, it's swinging back across. You can see that we went a little to the left, but we're getting back on track here. Click our auto brake. And second
Speed check, flaps 2.
notch of flaps and our gear down.
Gear down.
Put our nose light on. Brake fan on. Spoilers armed.
Spoilers armed. Speed check, flaps 3.
Flaps 3. Coming up on our full flap mark here.
Radio altimeter alive. Speed check, flaps full.
So we're just waiting to see the runway. If I knew the go-around altitude, I would put it in. Maybe I'll just put it in for fun.
Go around, altitude set.
Turn on our runway lights. And now just waiting to see our runway. So we're coming in from the northeast. You can see our localizer and guide slope flags are right on, as indicated here in our FMA, and there's our rabbit for runway 22 left. Pilots don't like this runway because it is so far to the southeast of the terminal area. A lot of rabbits here. There's 3 east-west runways now. So we're watching for land green.
500. 400.
Land green, check.
Three hundred. 200.
100 above.
100. 50. 40. 30. Minimum. Retard. 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 Retard.
Got a little windy there. I like that turn off there. Alright, I'll spare you the taxi back to the terminal. At this point we would clean up the airplane. Put the flaps up. And we would turn off our strobes. If I had it on auto, it would have been automatic. We don't need our landing lights now. So that concludes our flight in the JAR 2.6 R2 from Cleveland to O'Hare. Thanks for joining me.